All right, hey everybody, this is Barney Quincy, creator and founder of the Animal Wellness Summit, and I am here today from the Great White North, otherwise known as Canada, and also for those of you who live in Montana, also known as the Great White North. But we have two very interesting presenters and animal wellness experts on with us today as presenters for the summit. They came to us for the first time last year in 2018. And we're going to get to, I'm going to bring them on here in just a second. And Kim and Allison are the presenters that are coming on here today. So I'm going to just first of all let you know for some housekeeping items is that technology is wonderful, but it also has a dark side. And that part of that is there's always challenges when it comes to audio, feedback, or just other things. So do me a huge favor. And as I always like to in my normal attempt to be humorous, and let me know how great my hair looks, number one. Number two, let me know where you're tuning in from live today, if you're here with us live, and just let us know if you have any questions. You can post them in the comments box. I am your moderator and your host for today's training and call, and I don't want to waste too much time on the housekeeping stuff, but just know that if you have questions, post them in the comment box, and also keep in mind that the dynamics of managing a call like this with having 2 or 3 people on and managing the comments can be quite challenging. So just know that if we don't get to your question, it doesn't mean that you're not cool or special. It just means that we ran out of time. But that also the presenters will sometimes come back onto the Facebook, basically the post, and sometimes they'll be able to follow up. The presenters are really awesome like that. So yes, so that's that, and yeah, so that's great, Kat, that all the way from Ann Arbor, Michigan, drive through there on my way to Utah when we drive over there, and Kevin, great to see you on here from Minnesota, our Canadian counterparts in the United States. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring on Kim and Allison. I'm going to turn their screens on, and there we go. So now we're all 3 on the screen. Ladies, welcome, and nice to see you.
Hello. Great to see you.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
So first of all, why don't we do, who wants to go first? Just a brief little introduction, where you're at and your story.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm Kim Shotola. We're with the Lightfoot Way, and I used to be a Texan, and I moved to Montana a 1.5 years ago. And I wanted to be near Yellowstone, my husband and I, and we love it here. And I started, I guess, the Lightfoot Way about, I guess this is our 13th year, 13th year. And we just love teaching holistic animal care classes locally. And then also we do a lot of distance opportunities. We do consultations. And yeah, got into it because of the love of our own animals, and having a horse that was limping at a young age and getting into the supplements that could help her. And yeah, and now she's, oh my goodness, it's hard to believe today is the 6th. So on the 13th, she will be 28 years old, and I've had her since a yearling. So yeah, but anyway, that's, yeah. I worked for over 25 years at the zoo, at the Houston Zoo, and helped to bring holistic animal care to the zoo, and it's still going on today. So take it away, Allison.
That's cool.
Well, I'm Allison Culver, and I am in Texas, where it is a weird 75 degrees today, but I'm embracing it. And I, too, wanted to do the best for my animals, and I got my dog 14 years ago. March 4th, he'll be 14. And I met Kim, and the rest is history. I've been working with her, and she brought me to this wonderful world of woo-woo holistic. And my book of evidence is my own animals. It's amazing to me how it works, that it works, and my animals are thriving. And when I tell them how old they are, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So I believe in it, and I want to share it with everyone. And it's our passion to teach.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's, I'm going to bring us all back on here again. see if I can do it this way. So the cool part about your presentation, and it's great to just, some of the members like Kevin, who are a platinum member from Minnesota, and then we have people who are on here that have no idea they're coming here for the first time. So for those of you, we had the Animal Wellness Summit. It's a free 10-day online event that we've done the last 2 years in 2017, 2018. We're doing the third year again this fall. And we're actually working on AWS Live, which is going to be a 2-day hands-on training. Think of it like a mini conference for probably about 200 or 300 people up here in Canada. So if you're from the States and you want to get your passport, it's worth it. We're cool. We will let you in at least for the 2 or 3 days to come up here, and then you got to go back home. But so it's pretty awesome. Now, Kim and Allison, your presentation that we had that was in the summit was an introduction to holistic animal care. And I think that's probably, even though it's a broad topic, it was a broad topic as an introduction. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about some of the snippets from your presentation, because there's some people that never heard that. They didn't get a chance to take the summit.
Oh my goodness, snippets. How do you do snippets? Boy, there's a lot of stuff in that.
Yes, there is.
Well, I was thinking about this earlier, and one of the main things that a lot of people, they want to know how to help their animals. And nutrition is vital. It is absolutely crucial that you first look at that, because anything else is kind of just like doing a little temporary Band-Aid, So I think people have to realize nutrition comes first, and then you look at everything else to go along with it, because all those other things we do and anyone can do is just fabulous. But if the nutrition's not where it needs to be, they're going to keep having recurring problems or more problems. So I'd say starting off with that. And the way we tell what the nutrition is, or even what are then the right healing methods for that animal to best help them at whatever stage they are in their life, is the muscle testing.
Yes.
Yep. And, all of the modalities that we work with and that we teach are energy-based. So it makes perfect sense that muscle testing would be the best way to work with those modalities and to determine what is needed, which modality, and within those modalities, what, products are needed and what the animal needs.
Right. Yeah, and I know we talked about this on one of our calls before, that muscle testing is it's an important skill to learn, but there's some people that I know that are listening to this now and will listen to it and be like, what the heck is muscle testing? Now, last time we didn't have the visual component when we did one of the coaching calls, but now we do. So which one of you would like to demonstrate muscle testing for us? Would you like, I could say, can you easily do it, or is it something that's not really?
Anyone can learn it. My daughter, children can learn it, and so can a grown man. No offense to the guys out there. Yes, you can teach your husband, your partner, whatever.
Yep.
But so normally we start off people though with the partner method, where you're using the deltoid muscle.
Yeah.
And someone would, I'm going to put my arm out in front, but normally that looks really funny. Okay. But normally your partner would come along and press, and there would be resistance. You would try and keep your arm stable. So if the answer was, if you asked, is this the best food for my animal? The arm should stay solid. And then if it was not the best food, the arm will go down. So, and an easier way to do that also is using the finger muscles. It's the thumb and the middle finger. And you would have your partner, when you ask the question, if the fingers were to pull apart, and that is going to be a weak response. If they stay together, that is a positive response. If they slide, even if they just slide a little bit, that's still a no, a weak. But that is working with the partner method. And we've found, because I've been doing, I think, muscle testing for, 15 to 20 years. I've kind of lost count. And having someone learn the partner method tends to be best in our opinion, because they get that.
It's like a validation. Yeah. It's they can't question their own body because somebody else is doing it. So it helps to validate.
Build the confidence. And then when someone gets the confidence, then we have them work on doing it themselves. But it's a little tricky though, Barney, doing it yourself, because normally the same way it works this way is not going to necessarily work doing it the solo method. Like I have to switch to my left hand instead of using my right hand, because my right hand is too strong. So I switch to my left hand. I use my pinky and thumb.
Because the pinky is the only one on the hand that is on a different meridian. It goes to the heart. So it's almost as if you've got two people, because you're
and so that's the way we do the solo method. And then I'll take my right hand, and then I'll push up. Like I could say my name is Kim, and I should not be able to move it because I'm Kim. I could say my name is Barney,
right,
and it should come apart because I am not Barney. But that's the way we do the solo method. And it just takes practice of statements or questions that are true, and then ones are not true. And then you can develop that feel for it, basically.
And there is, this has been around for a while. I mean, we like to use tangible, like the fingers or the hands or the arms. But if you are inclined to do this, this is an option, just to give all those options out there. But if you stop and you ask your question, let's say my name is Allison, and can you say that I'm falling forward?
Yeah.
So that's a positive. And then if I say my name is Kim, I'm going backward, and that's my negative.
Right.
So you can do that. It looks a little funny in the store when you're doing that. In that case, you've been celebrating too hard.
Yeah, I think that it's only funny to, people think that it is silly, but that's okay. I think it's so interesting. I'm really familiar with it, with being in holistic health myself in the human world. But I think what's really important is that people don't fully appreciate, or I should say it maybe this way, it's not fully appreciated by the majority of people who are unaware of the power of muscle testing.
Right.
Because we're not taking into consideration that we're actually technically muscle testing, whether we're aware of it or not. We're just not getting the feedback directly from, doing a little tangible feed. To get a little tangible example, because if you're eating foods that are highly processed and it takes a lot of water of the body, or they're malnourishing to the body, that it can then it causes a state of just puts you down below the vitality line, health and wellness, and then they're in a constant state. So a constant state of just not really being sure. And I think that's what I feel like. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is such a, I'm going to try muting one of you because I'm getting some feedback here. I feel like I need to practice my multitasking. Just kidding. I feel like that's such an important skill to develop, that to find your own groove, whether it be in the testing going forward or back, or doing the testing here, or doing the arm testing, is that once you then develop the skill, it's not like you maybe go to a course and you train, you learn how to do it, but you're still familiar with the ability to do it. But then it's practicing, as you said, I think, Kim, trusting, the answers, because I that's what I struggled with in the beginning, was like, well, I don't know. And I'm also tested, but part of me wants the answer to be this, not that.
Well, and remember, it's, this is energy based. So 99.999% of this is intention. It's setting your intention and believing that, and believing in the intention. There are some other things that, when we teach people how to do it, there are a lot of different criterias that are needed. For instance, I'll give you an example. I've been muscle testing for a while, and I was trying to figure out what was going on with my one dog, Peter, his diet. And I was muscle testing with my husband. We were at the rodeo, sitting outside waiting. And I went through everything. And I just looked at my husband. I said, well, he can't eat anything. Nothing is working. Nothing is saying positive. And then I realized, Barney, I had a honking turquoise necklace on. So the crystals, the energy of the crystals changed my energy and gave me false readings. So you have to be aware of what crystals you might have on, what metals. Kim talks about, even batteries, or if you wear a beeper or your cell phone's near you, or you've got big metal belt buckle, or even glasses that are metal rimmed. You have to be aware of that. And make sure that if you're not getting the correct answers, that, if you're not Barney, then take the glasses off, or, take the belt off, or, and that you can always do the name game to test your polarity and make sure that you're balanced.
Right. That's really good. So Jeannie had a question, if you can see it posted up here. Mm-hmm. So, this is cool, but how does it relate to the animal? So a scenario, let's go, because it's good. It's a skill that we are familiar with, the benefits of it, how to use it, but then now maybe some practical, like a scenario of, okay, I don't know. Why don't you just give us a scenario of how you encourage your students to.
How do you use it with an animal? Okay, Kim.
Oh, okay. So we start with the diet. So no matter what kind of issues are going on with the animal, you want to always start with the diet, and you will muscle test. So, like, for instance, we'll start off with saying, should Sam be on a grain-free diet? And so I am muscle testing for Sam the dog.
Because you're setting your intention that you are Sam, you're focused on Sam.
Yes. And so Sam could be in front of me. Sam could be in a photo. Sam does not have to be my dog, but I do need to make that energetic connection with Sam some way, through the photo or through an in-person animal. But because it's energy, yes, it works just wonderful with a photo. And so I'm going to just start asking questions with my intention. I'm asking them for Sam, because the minute your focus goes away from who you're testing for, like your dog, then you're going to have issues with, you're going to be muscle testing for Barney or someone else because they popped into your mind. So you do need to 100% have your intention set on that animal, and then you're going to go through whatever questions you want to ask. But it's all about setting the intention and connecting with the energy of that animal in person or by photo.
And, at the beginning, when people are first learning it, sometimes we have them touch the animal, like at the back of the neck, kind of right below the collar, where the collar would be, you touch there. And then you ask the question with your other arm, whether it's the deltoid or the fingers. And you've got that tangible connection to the animal, so you are becoming the animal's surrogate. But you don't need to do that. You don't need to, like Kim said, have the animal anywhere near you. If you know your animal's in your heart, you don't even need a photo. And you can just muscle test setting that intention that you are focused on that animal.
Right. And I think that that's where wrong button again. I think that that's where you made the comment. One of you made the comment about it being like woo-woo. And I know that I dealt with that personally in the gym. Feel like, well, that sounds kind of woo-woo. I'm like, well, but when you've got feeling about something, or you just know something's off, or you meet somebody and you're like, yeah, they just got the heebie-jeebies from them, or you meet someone, you're like, wow, I don't know what it's about, but I just feel connected to them, and I feel like I can trust them. That's energy. So you're just testing through biological feedback, for biofeedback, through the muscles to give an indication about which direction to go, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Now, so somebody is listening and they don't feel confident in their ability to do this themselves, and they're like, you know what, I just feel lost. What would be my options to like work with you guys, or could you do consults, or do you have a training course or something like that? Because I mean, this comes up a lot where we get messages after these weekly calls, and then people ask like, hey, I missed it, or I saw the replay and I had some questions, but I'm not too sure how to, you know, navigate this on my own, and it was whatever. So do you do that type of work for clients or for people that need some distance muscle testing?
I mean, most of the muscle testing that we do are people that we've never met. We've never met the animal. They could be in another country, you know, part of the world. So we do we will muscle test and help them figure out what modalities are needed, and then we can go from there. We also have online courses. Our nutrition course has muscle testing component in it. We have a muscle testing ebook that you can purchase. And our membership has muscle testing videos and the ebook as well, and information that is there for them anytime they log on. So there's different ways that they can access and get help with muscle testing. But yes, we're always available for consultations and muscle testing for them.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good, because I think that I'm going to put this up here for you and get us all back in the screen. But Kim, I'm wondering, maybe can you turn your speakers down just a little bit, because I think the feedback's coming from you.
My speaker, okay.
Yeah, because that's better. My voice is coming out the speaker and picking back up through your microphone.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's, as long as you can hear me, that's good.
I can hear you.
Okay. Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that's really good. So muscle testing and the nutrition part. I know that actually I want to pause for a quick second and just share this. For those of you who are members, like Kevin and a few of you others, I'm not looking at the screen right now, so I can't remember off the top of my head. But for a VIP member or a platinum member with the Animal Wellness Summit, you can log in and go to the 2018 Summit on day 5. Kim and Allison's presentation is there, where you can go and listen to the introduction to holistic animal care. And I will say this, that it's really neat when we have you guys on as presenters. So side note, thank you for coming on, because it kind of re-stimulates people's interest to want to go back and learn and listen and dig in. Of course, it's a benefit if they're a member. If not, well, then you have to wait till next year, or you could always join our membership as well. But it's just, our goal obviously is to help empower us all as a collective community, as human beings on planet Earth, you know, caring for our animals and being their stewards and guides and, or, you know, caretakers, so to speak, however we want to refer to it. But I just think that it's really neat. And I know that your presentation was full of lots of great information. And so I want to encourage you, those members. So like Kevin, who just said, okay, great. So that's your homework, Kevin, for this week. Make sure you get on it.
Yes, Kevin.
So you can do that. And I kind of feel like this would be something, we'll talk about this after. I know I mentioned it briefly before the call, but I could see this being a really great monthly mini masterclass on just in and of itself muscle testing, because I feel like it's a much bigger topic than just like, here's the basic mechanics, here's the applications of it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But, you know, it's also, but then again, Barney, it's actually very simple. I mean, that's one of our taglines is, you know, learn holistic animal care the fun and simple way, because it is so simple and anybody can do it. You know, you don't need a degree or a license or anything. And I'll give you an example of one of my favorite modalities, which people might not even realize is a holistic modality, and that is color. I mean, color is so powerful. You can use color in so many ways to help on a holistic level. Example, one of our stories is that we were working with one of the animal shelters, the no-kill animal shelters in Houston, And Kim and I went to see this cat. Her name was Simone, and long story short, but she'd been in the kill room for several days at the animal control shelter in Houston and forgotten about. So can you imagine how traumatized she was after seeing time after time animals come in and be euthanized? And no one could get near her. I mean, could not get near her. She was just that frantic. And when we did the muscle testing, one of the things that showed up to help her was color. And it ended up to be yellow. She needed yellow. And to add to this, the shelter crew, they were putting on a red welding glove to go in to try to feed her and groom her and do all of those things with a red welding glove. That was probably the worst thing they could have done, because red amplifies anything. I mean, you think about the bullfighters using red. Why do they do that? It's not the color that they see, but it's the energy it gives off and how it can, amplify any kind of aggravation or existing condition. So we got the red out of there, and yellow was what she needed. And it makes sense now, because you see yellow brings joy, warmth, comfort, sunshine, those things that she hadn't had ever, being in the kill room. And the only thing that they had in the whole shelter was a banana. So they put a banana on top of her little crate. And I kid you not, in 3 days, Simone, actually I think it was less than 3 days, but she was out of the crate, walking around the shelter, sitting on the director's desk. And to this day, she's the shelter house cat. So all of that from a yellow banana. I mean, that's power.
Right.
Just from color. I mean, you think about it, the medical field, they've worn light blue and light green scrubs forever. You think it's just because they like them? It's because green and blue are some of the most healing and soothing colors that you can use. So it's, color is just awesome to use.
Yeah, that is really powerful, that example. And I think it is just acknowledging, but when you're close to the situation, or you're dealing with the situation with your animal, it's hard to see that, right? And which, on a quick side note, Kevin had a question: what colors do dogs and cats see? So I don't know.
I actually know exactly that answer.
Okay.
People think, like, there's dog groups and training groups that think that dogs can see blue and yellow. So they typically use blue and yellow as their colors for agility courses, so to speak, that blue and yellow. So they don't see blue and yellow. What they do see are 2 cones. We see 3 cones. The dogs and cats see 2 cones. And yellow happens to be in one set of cones, and blue happens to be in the other set of cones. So that's why they see those 2 colors as different, because they see them as 2 different cones, but not necessarily blue and yellow. But the 2 colors, there are 2 colors that they do see exactly as these colors, and that is purple and white. And there is a company that is now making dog toys in purple and white for that very reason, because they found this out and they know it. So yeah,
that's interesting.
Cool. And that's why they make these balls that are like green and red or whatever, and all of those colors just blend right into the grass, because it's that same color cone field that they see, so they can't see the ball when it's on the ground. So it helps to have like a different color, like a white or a different cone color that they can identify. But it's more about the energy of the color.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Did that answer Kevin's question?
I think it did. Kevin, maybe you let us know with a comment. And Kim, did you want to add anything before we go on to this question from Jennifer?
No. I mean, that was what Allison said was good.
Yeah. What Allison said. Okay, so Jennifer is asking, whoops, wrong one. It's my first day on the job here. Jennifer was asking, we did, and can you ladies see this question, by the way?
We can.
So I'll just put myself on here for a second then. So we did muscle testing and had a very skilled medical intuitive work on my dog. Our, in quotation marks, answers were completely wrong. It's my understanding that animals can, in quotation marks, block you from their truth, your thoughts. So any thoughts on that, because I find that quite interesting. Because what I would be curious about is, how do you know, Jennifer, that the answers were wrong?
Right.
But what are your ladies' thoughts as being skilled muscle testers?
Well, we have never experienced that where the animal is blocking, because if you set your intention and you're doing it for the highest good of the animal and the person or people involved, then you should get pretty accurate results. However, if there were some reason that all of those little criteria, as Allison described earlier, if another animal entered the energy field, if your mind was thinking about another animal, if you were wearing something that was interfering with your energy, then that could affect the answers totally. And
Right.
totally.
If you were standing right next to a computer or a big, screen TV, all of those things can affect the positive and negative.
Okay. Well, I think that's good. I don't know if you're still on, Jennifer, but I think that was a great answer. And yeah, I mean, what I would encourage you to do, Jennifer, just from my standpoint, is reach out to Kim and Allison on their website, which I had it up here earlier, because I think that the reality of it is that not everybody, if they're really skilled, like Jennifer was saying, they could be really skilled, but maybe there were elements that were contributing to the wrong answers. Right. that skill wasn't aware of.
And even beyond that, Barney, we don't even know what if they weren't balanced to begin with when they started. Did they do the polarity check, which is where you can put your hand on top of your head with your palm down, and then have someone push your arm down. And if it falls down, if your arm goes down when you're like this, that means your positive response is not correct. And then to test the negative, you turn it the other way and then do it. And your arm should fall down, but if it stays up, then you're not balanced. So there are exercises that you can do to help get your body balanced and your polarity straight, because your body's like a battery.
Right.
And that's like important thing I wanted to say is that she was a medical intuitive. Well, Allison and I are highly intuitive, and anyone can learn how to be intuitive because we all have that innate ability. However, like when Allison and I muscle test, we often will get the answer and we'll know the answer before we actually pull the fingers or push the arm or whatever it is. We'll know the answer exactly. Even if it's a precise amount, like it's 1,500 milligrams of chondroitin sulfate, for instance. So we'll know the answer. However, we tell people muscle test to confirm that your intuition is correct, because sometimes our intuition is anyone's intuition. Our intuition is not maybe right on target. So that two different skills, being an intuitive and plain Jane black and white muscle testing. That's different.
Yeah, that's really good. A good distinction. And also, I would submit from my humble experience with animals, but also with humans, is that the intuition is always 100%. It's our interpretation of what we believe the intuition to be. I don't know if you ladies would agree with that or not, but I feel like it's always there. It's just because then our programmed mind gets in the way.
Yeah.
Right. The answer to be, or we don't want to face that reality of X situation or whatever. So, but this is a good question, or pardon me, a comment from Kat saying that could it be because the animal was fearful of the person doing the testing if it was in person?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because that doesn't have anything to do with it. Because if you're doing the muscle testing, you're focusing your energy on the animal, and the animal is
separate. Yeah,
out of the way. I mean, you're just setting your intention and focusing your energy for the correct responses. So the animal didn't even have to be there, I guess. Is
right. So, okay, that's good. Good comment, though, from Kat. So we have some questions we want to get to, which, by the way, I hope you guys are having fun. If you're not having fun, then just keep your opinions to yourself. if you are, then let us know. And you know, I love doing this. And so I just want to say midway here, thanks to both you, Kim and Alice,
I know this is really fun.
Yeah, it's just it's fun. And I've told some people my hair's awesome, and I'm a pretty good host. So I like to think that everybody just thinks that. So Kat says that makes sense. And this one here, I want to pull this up this is a big one. So I'm going to give you a minute to kind of, if you can read this, and then I have some other questions. So by the way, while the ladies are reading this, you can submit your questions and we'll do our best to answer them. Just know that if we don't get to them, you can always reach out to them after, and or you can send them to us at our support at fullcircleholistichealth.com email. Now, do you have any thoughts on Ewa's question? About my dog is has a hip dysplasia, or is a hip dysplasia survivor, had 2 bone transplants in his hips. I'm a dog behavior specialist, but I do stop many move.
I don't understand that.
I do stop many movements on him.
Okay.
Because I never taught him to heel backwards or spin backwards. Is there anything else I should be aware of, or any ideas or anything that I should avoid when it comes to the hip dysplasia?
So this is where I would immediately defer her to a chiropractor.
Okay.
The chiropractic adjustments and just having a chiropractor know and keeping them in alignment can do wonders. And there are exercises that you can do with the dog to help strengthen. I know for Kim and I both use a chiropractor. In fact, Kim was the one that got the chiropractor here at the Houston Zoo actually to start doing chiropractic and acupuncture on the animals at the zoo, which I think is huge. It's just amazing. I mean, the big cats, it's just awesome. But yeah, that you'd be surprised. I mean, it seems like such a trivial thing, but it's super important. It saved my dog from having to have shoulder surgery. And then my other dog was just a gnat's hair away from tearing his ACL. And she caught it and aligned him. And we did some, exercises to help strengthen that. And we avoided, big expense and heartbreak.
I would definitely limit, like the jumping up and down off of things, because that can mess up the hips. So I just think being careful with the movement is going to be really important. Just everyday life, do they have to jump up and down off of something? Yeah. And massage is wonderful to keep the hindquarters, in the muscles in good shape.
Yeah, that's good. And the healing touch for animals are you familiar with Dr. Carol?
Oh, yeah.
Carol
Healing touch and the wrap therapy, it's all amazing.
Yeah. And Megan Aero is another presenter who comes to mind who did just touch for animals. She's really good. Her presentations, for those of you who are members, you can go back and listen. Just search for Megan Aero. Her name is last name is Ayrault. You can just search that in the members area. But so in addition to this, I would say there is a site, and I forget which one it is. It's not coming to me right now, but it will soon, hopefully. Is Dr. Erin O'Connor in Chicago. She's an animal chiropractor. She's also one of our presenters. She's amazing. Very, very passionate about chiropractic care for animals and very knowledgeable. So I would encourage you, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Ewa, I would reach out to her, to Erin, Dr. Erin. Just Google Dr. Erin O'Connor, because there is a website. Maybe you ladies, do you know what that website is? There's Animal Chiropractic Care or something. Maybe just a Google search will find it. But it's basically, there's a website that shows where all the animal chiropractors are. Yeah, and then so just Google Animal Chiropractors United States or whatever, and then you should be able to find one. And she says, yes, he's not allowed at home because of this. So, okay, cool. So any additional thoughts on that before I go to the next question?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Now this is This is a good one. It's going to take up most of the screen. So we have 2 English Goldens. One has 2 to 3 stage renal failure. The other has thyroid problems, and both of them, their back legs have severe weakness, making it difficult to go upstairs. What do we do, and what food do we use? We have been through just every food. I'm just saying they've tried a lot of different foods. And of course, now they're overweight. Last year, the dog with thyroid problems had her spleen removed and part of her liver. They're both 11 years old. I feel like there's a lot there, but
there is a lot there. And without muscle testing, it would be really hard to tell what would be right for them. But with the renal failure, you have to be really careful with the too much protein, because that can cause further issues. And as far as though like strengthening their hindquarters, if it's a male dog, the supplement DHEA can possibly strengthen and help put muscle on hindquarters if they're having issues. I learned that from a holistic vet I had worked with, and saw it personally with my dog. And he was 16 years old, and he had a tumor on his body, and it really did put extra muscle and build that whole hindquarter area up with the DHEA supplement.
My dog's doing it now, and they're 15, 14. Yeah.
But that's an idea there. But really, it's looking at the whole diet, and it's just not. I wish it were a simple answer, but it's not. It's because there'd be supplements they could possibly do, but looking at the more diet they're on, because maybe they do need the hot proteins like chicken and lamb, or maybe that's creating more inflammation in the body and they need something cooling like turkey. So it just really looking at the proteins would be really important.
And also, I don't know what type of food she's been feeding, but the more moisture you can get in the diet really helps the kidneys and the renal issue. Because, I say this all the time, but dry food only provides about 12% moisture daily. And the cats especially need about 90% moisture in their daily diet, and dogs about 80 to 90. So you can see over time, if you're just feeding a dry diet, how that would tax the kidneys and really put, a lot of pressure on them to perform and not able to flush correctly year after year of dry food. So the more moisture you can get in the diet, it's a lot better for those organs, especially as they age.
And in general, just mechanics of the body, the organs, the blood, the muscles, everything. So really, really good. So a couple more questions. We'll power through these. These are some good, juicy ones that got emailed in. So this one's from Lori. What do you use for heartworm? We just got a new puppy and read the side effects of her medications. It's scary. Is there something there that works just as well?
So this is going to be rather shocking.
I like it. I like shocking stuff.
Especially because I'm in Texas and I live on the bayou, which is, the heartland of mosquitoes.
Hey, Allison. Allison, can you tilt your screen towards you a little bit more?
This way?
Yeah, perfect.
Is that better?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. But I very rarely use heartworm. I know that it is a must sometimes, especially in Texas, where you do have to do something. And I will have, heart guard on hand. I'm not going to lie, it's there. But I muscle test to see how often I need to do it. And it's not very often. I think for me, maybe every 6 months it was, this last year. I do feed a raw diet. So that's an ace in my corner because the mosquitoes aren't getting or feeding off the sugars and all that stuff that they would from a commercial, dry diet or a kibble diet. So the raw diet helps to keep the mosquitoes away. And the muscle testing really does help you, number one, save money on these medications, but from the animals getting stuff that they don't need, because you're right, the side effects are scary. Also, they want you to do these medications like every 30 days, and that's kind of overkill and it's ridiculous. They do that because it helps them sell the product, number one. Number two, it also is like a memory thing for you so you won't forget. But the life cycle of a heartworm is at least 3 months, 3 to 5 months. So why would you need to give it to them every month? You know, you can really prolong how often you're giving them these medications. There are homeopathic nosodes that are used for heartworm prevention and treatment. They're available from, a holistic vet. There's one in Austin, Jim Faulkner, Dr. Faulkner. He writes for Dogs Naturally from time to time, but he has the homeopathic nosodes.
Is that Dr. Will?
Will Faulkner.
Will Faulkner.
Will.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, my man from Texas. I told him, I said, dude, the first time I met him, I'm like, I feel like I could tell you that I love you. He's like, what? Yeah.
What's stopping you?
He's such a, well, I did. I told him, we could tell that he's such an awesome guy, down to earth, super smart. And that's Dr. Will Faulkner of The Vital Animal.
Right.
He's also one of our presenters. He didn't jump in last year, but I'm hoping to get him back in again this year. But you were saying that he
uses homeopathic nosodes to combat heartworms. So I would look into that as well.
Okay.
I think he has a heartworm ebook too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we'll find that and we can post that for you, Lori. I know that you emailed in, so there's a chance you're going to watch this on the replay. But great answers. Thank you. We'll go to the next question, which I have yet to post. This is an essential oil question. I think it's a pretty basic one. But I have to wait for it to post here. Just 1 second. I guess I could read it until it shows up. Here we go. It's up. Just easier to read it on the video recording. So what's the best essential oil and or treatment for am I pronouncing that correctly?
Ichthyosis?
Ichthyosis.
That's a guess, Marty.
Yeah. Ichthyosis. Yeah, whatever. So what are your thoughts? Are you familiar with that? I have no idea what that is.
Well, that's a skin condition that tends to be genetics, hereditary with golden retrievers. And it's not so much about, I won't say essential oils, but it would be more looking at the diet, because from what I understand, you can't really cure that, but you're trying to control, I believe, the skin problem, and you want to try and bring moisture to that skin condition. So you're going to again have to look at the diet, but something like making sure you have the moisture in the basic diet, but then also for skin conditions, because I know a lot of people had posted comments before about skin conditions, things like omega-3s, whether it's salmon oil or flaxseed oil or even phytoplankton, one of them might be helpful. And then also spirulina. We've seen, dogs and horses actually respond really well with the spirulina. Mm-hmm. Or a blue-green algae kind of thing. So that's something else that might help. And then also a probiotic often tends to help animals with skin conditions.
Okay.
So those would be my suggestions.
That's good. That's awesome. Thank you. Allison, were you trying to say something?
Oh, I just said, and also the green lipid mussels.
Okay.
Okay, for the...
Yeah.
Cool. No, that's great. Trisha, working, another one of our presenters. Nice to see you on here, Trisha. I love your profile picture. Can you recommend for fleas, cats, and the cats and dogs? What do you guys do for that?
So what I do for that, for my dogs, I actually do have an essential oil blend spray that we created. It's a very easy recipe, but I use that in the summer. But my go-to, number one, I'm going to say it again, they're on a raw diet. So the fleas just don't come. They don't like it. They're not interested in what's on my dogs in their blood and all that. But garlic, if you do a crushed garlic clove a day, the garlic gets in the bloodstream, and the fleas and mosquitoes hate it. They can't stand it.
And how do you get it? How do you get it in? Do they eat it? You try to.
Yes. So here, this is the key.
I was going to say, how are you going to get them to take it?
Oh, well, my dog, they love it. You can, condense it or pulverize it. But I've had people say, oh, that doesn't work. I've tried it. I've got garlic powder, whatever. The key to having the garlic work is actually squishing it or breaking it, or opening it that very minute that you're going to feed it to them, because that's when the allicin is released from the garlic. Right. And that is what's effective. So you don't want to, have them in the refrigerator or buy a jar or you want to actually crush them at point of sale, so to speak, and feed it to them within 10 to 20 minutes of it being crushed. And that's when the garlic is effective. And I just crushed it and mixed it in with their food, and they don't even know it's there. When
it's most potent, I guess, right?
Yes. Yeah. You want that allicin to be released.
Yeah. And you're not talking about yourself, right?
No. You don't want me released.
Yeah, no. Okay, Trisha, I hope that helps for that. I think that's all. Oops, for me.
Oh, there is also, we could keep going. The diet, got them. If they're already there in your world, diatomaceous earth can help.
Yeah.
Food grade. You want to make sure you use food grade diatomaceous earth. You can actually dust it on their backs, kind of like a powder, but you want to make sure that they can't inhale it, because it can be kind of, toxic to their lungs. But that you can do that also on the doors, outside, on your carpeting, your furniture, and then vacuum it up. You can also put it in their food, because it puts the minerals back into the body that they might need. So that's another option.
That's good. Now, what do you put in your blend again? You said something about you made a blend.
Lemongrass, cedarwood,
we could use citronella.
And citronella, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just 2 drops of each of those oils. That's it. You don't need a lot.
And you put them in
like a 4-ounce spray bottle.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Y'all just got our recipe. Woohoo!
Yeah. DIY recipes to the rescue. So Trisha, to follow up this one, I'm queuing up the next question, and then we're going to get ready to wrap things up here. I know all good things sometimes come to an end. But Trisha's asking up there about she has an animal foundation, so multiple cats. How would you get the garlic there for the cats? To try and be creative, I would presume, with the cats.
Yeah, that is a tough one. All of this has to work within your lifestyle and be a workable solution. I would just if you've got fleas, the diatomaceous earth. To prevent them, the diet, just stay away from the dry foods if possible, because that's what breeds, everything turns to a sugar, and that's what the fleas kind of grab onto. But I don't know if she can change the diet or not. But.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, Trisha, if you have other questions for me after, I want to talk to you about later this month anyway, so make sure you reach out to me. And I'm off the screen, so you can't see me, but you can hear my voice, hopefully. I think this has been very helpful, and I have a weird feeling that you ladies know a thing or two about holistic animal care. I'm glad you got my little joke there, because you know a lot, and it's just great to share, and I know people really appreciate it, and I appreciate it. So I think that the neat part about what it is that we're doing, together as a community, is that, and I know some of you mentioned as presenters saying that it's neat being able to learn from the other presenters, like Trisha's learning from
I love it.
You two right now, and you said before we got on the call that there's a nice wide variety, but the common thread is really holistic animal. Well, we didn't use the word holistic, but it's holistically minded, with animal wellness. So last question. I know there was 2 other questions that were emailed in, but couldn't get to them. But this is the last one. So my question from Joy is, what can we do to help our dogs cope during the dry winter months? I live in Colorado. Love that state, where it is very dry and my dog itches like crazy in the early morning hours. Is there a supplement we can give them or some type of typical tonic that would just moisturize her skin? She's a long-haired Havapoo. So any thoughts on that?
Well, it's the same thing with the skins. I hate to say, the coat and the skin, they kind of all go together. So looking at the core diet, trying to get the moisture in the diet, not doing the dry if possible, and building up the immune system with good probiotics, because that can definitely support the immune system. Even though stimulating the body with massage, that could help with the skin. And just really looking at the supplements that are going to support that immune system, whether it's the omega-3s or the spirulina, and really muscle testing, because there is no one size fits all. And I would love to be able to give a pat answer like, oh, this is what you could do, but it's all about treating every animal as unique. Even if you have 5 of the same breed, they could all have different needs.
It's not one shoe fits all.
Right. But there's so much that can be done with diet. I can't emphasize that enough. Getting the core diet and then looking at the supplements, because people tend to over supplement a lot. Yeah. And that actually creates more havoc in the body, and it really just upsets the immune system. And so that's one of the issues we found is that there's over supplementation or the wrong supplements.
Yeah. It's true. If you've got your core diet right, you shouldn't need many supplements at all. Yeah,
I agree. And I had that with clients. I got just from the human side, but I mean, you can't. Yeah. I think we're all adults on here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna use a little swear word here. You can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And so the thing is that
I love that.
My coach and my mentor said to me one time, he's like, you can't that, and as a bit of a joke, but on the other hand, there's a less is more approach. That it's not so much about what you should take. He said, I find the more simple, practical wisdom is what could be taken away instead of what needs to be taken. So I think this is really good though, because from an empowerment standpoint for you, Joy, when you listen to this, is that I know we get people who will ask the question after, like, well, I felt kind of stupid for asking that question. I'm like, well, no. If you ask the same question twice, then maybe, but if not, it's good to know, because if you have that question, other people are wondering. But so what you're saying really, and as a summary, is that it's coming from within. It will be more excessive though when the dog. I mean, I just think practically that if the animal or the dog's going to be drier in the winter time. Now, we found that in our house. We just a little simple tip: if you're depending on where your living environment is, your heat source. If you're in Texas, hopefully you don't need the heat source. And in Montana and Canada, you definitely do. But we have a wood fire and an oil fire in our old farmhouse, and we're moving into a new house that has natural gas. But we found that in the winter months, I don't know how I didn't clue into this earlier, but we were just starting like itching and scratching, and kids were getting irritated, and they just were getting more wound up, and they're like itching their skin. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And finally I realized, I'm like, we need to get a gauge, like a thermometer in, and then what are the humidity gauge? Humidex, is it Humidex? But test the percentage of humidity in your air space, and we were running like 14 to 15%, which is extremely dry. Regular humidity for comfort is recommended to be between 30 and 50% humidity in an inside living environment. But we were at 15, and then we had a humidifier running, and this didn't fix everything. I mean, there's other things like, okay, we're going to up the essential fatty acids or healthy fats in the wintertime and adjust things. But I'm just sharing this because it could just be that maybe if you have a wood stove in your house, to put a big pot of water on there and get some more humidity.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then measure. I mean, we did that in our old farmhouse, but even just having a humidifier in there and testing the humidity, because it doesn't take very much. I can't remember exactly the stat, but I think it was 1% of dehydration in the human body in order to offset muscle and motor and neurological function by up to 10%. So if your body's dehydrated and you're basically rehydrating your space again to have it to be relatively balanced. I mean, I just thought I'd put that out there from that angle, but I think that for sure the diet obviously is a huge one. And yeah.
Just for fun, for joy, if she mentioned she wanted a tonic, there is something that is excellent to use to bring relief with any kind of a wound or skin condition or dryness, anything, and that's calendula salve or calendula lotion. That is awesome because it will never harm. You can use it on an open, oozing, raw wound, and it will start healing it immediately.
Yeah. My mom and some of the people that are in our Young Living community use calendula oil and some other oils to make like their, body butters and creams and all that stuff. It's
excellent. I keep a little tub of it with me everywhere I go.
And you don't need that much either, right?
No.
It's very, very hydrating. Okay, cool. So I think we're at the end of all the knowledge bombs getting dropped here today. I know you're like, oh, well, this is over now, but we're just, this is just great. We do this every week. Thank you, Allison and Kim, for taking and making the time. I know you weren't sitting around twiddling your thumbs looking for something to do and decided to just jump on here today. You take time of your busy schedule to be with us. So I'm grateful on behalf of the Animal Wellness Summit and on behalf of everybody who's watching. So any last final words of wisdom before we wrap things up here?
I wanted to help the woman that has the issue with the FLUTD, which is the feline lower urinary tract disease.
Okay.
Marshmallow root, excellent. And hydrangea, steeped hydrangea blooms that you steep as a tea, excellent to get rid of the crystals in the bladder and all of that stuff. My cat had the same thing, an all wet diet. I moved mine to a raw diet. I mean, she was so bad. Also obesity. If the cats are overweight, get them, trimmed down, and that will relieve a lot of the urinary tract issues.
Okay, so thank you. That was for Sherry. That was she sent a very big, long, juicy question, and we didn't get to it.
And it can be so frustrating. I feel her pain because I went through it, but changing to a raw diet, marshmallow root, there is a product called Tinkle Tonic by Apothecary, excellent, and homeopathic UTI free, excellent.
Okay.
And the hydrangeas, actually, their metaphysical property is to get rid of crystals. So if the cat has crystals in the bladder, that will help.
Get rid of that. Okay, well, that's awesome. Thank you for doing that for her. And Kim, did you have anything?
Make holistic animal care a way of life, not a last resort.
That's good. That sounds like you've said that before. The Tinkle Tonic, I think, is when you said it, I was like actually kind of laughing a bit. It sounds funny.
Yeah.
So, the herb names, last thing before we wrap up here, and everybody's saying that I can see here. Thanks. Thank you, Kim, Allison, and Barney. Excellent as always. Love the Tinkle Tonic.
Yeah.
Use it for my older female dogs. And could you spell the herb names? This is from Jennifer. She was asking earlier about
herbs.
Marshmallow was one herb. Marshmallow.
Marshmallow, just like a marshmallow. Marshmallow root.
Yeah.
And hydrangea. Hydrangea is the flower.
And
those are the two, I think, unless there were other herbs that we mentioned.
Okay.
Calendula, that's Calendula. Calendula.
That's good. That sounds like we're on a spelling bee now. So if you, Kim and Allison, if you don't mind, if people, maybe tomorrow, later today, if you have a couple minutes, just pop back on here and then just see if anybody the questions. So just to help. And by the way, I'm going to put their site back up here again, the Lightfoot Way. So my encouragement for you is a couple things as we wrap things up here, and I'm looking for the comment. So first of all, what I'd love for you to do is to go check out their website and see what resonates, buy one of the courses or programs, and or just reach out to them and ask them if they can help you, because I think that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So I mean, if you can obtain that in a 15, 20, 30 minute, 45 minute consultation and save yourself potentially thousands of dollars, that's really kind of at the heart of why we have our Animal Wellness Summit VIP membership and Platinum membership. That the intention is that the investment for a year of the membership to have access to all of the the trainings is to be able to help. But there comes a point where all of the trainings have access to be able to empower you with the knowledge and education so that you can save some potentially and hopefully avoidable expensive vet visits. But that also there comes a point where these calls and the trainings only go so far. And that's where it's just amazing that you all have access to all of the presenters like Kim and Allison. So reach out to them, give them a call, send them an email. And that is the last thing that I was going to say, other than we are doing monthly mini master classes every month now. So we have the live weekly coaching calls, but we've been finding that there was a lot of questions coming up. What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And there was a lot of consistent questions that were coming up. And so we're going to be sending out a survey. So if you're watching this live or in the near future, watch out for the email coming your way. If you aren't on our email list, just email us at support@fullcircleholistichealth.com, or you can go to the Animal Wellness Summit page and just opt in. But the reason I'm sharing this is because we're going to be surveying you to ask you what topics you'd like to learn about. And I can already tell you, as long as Kim and Allison agree to this, which if they said no, it would be kind of awkward right now, but if they would be willing to contribute to a monthly mini masterclass on whatever topic they feel is most important, like muscle testing and showing you how to do it, giving you examples or something like that. But I feel that they're definitely going to be involved. And the neat part about the way it works is that it's a focused topic of at least 60 minutes to 75 minutes of teaching, and then there's time for Q&A. So you can attend it live, but if not, then you can get the replay after and get the downloads. It's included for the VIPs and the Platinums, and then everybody else, if you're like, well, this is great, but I'm not a member, I'm not sure if I want to be, but I'd like to take that training or that topic, you can just pay, it's just $27, and then we do all the work to work with the presenters. So it's a good fit, because then that way we all get to use our strengths and empower you guys with the knowledge and education. So without further ado, we're going to wrap it up. And again, one last time, I want to say thanks, ladies, for hopping on here, and thank you everybody who was able to tune in live. And just tag a friend or share this with a friend if something resonated with you. We'd really love that, because the best compliment you can give us is a referral. We would appreciate that to help empower more pet parents around the world.
Thanks, Barney. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Okay, we'll see you later. And we'll be on next week at 1 p.m. I don't know at the top of my head who's on next week, but it's going to be awesome, regardless whoever's going to be on, just like today was. And yeah, have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys on the next call.
Bye.